Hello, welcome back to another episode of IronCast. By this point, we've already deployed our worker and everything is working smoothly on Iron.io servers. During development, we want to be able to rapidly prototype and test our workers locally without having to keep uploading to Iron.io to see if the worker is working. But right now, our worker script is not going to work locally. Let me demonstrate. If I just run this particular file, which is nested under workers, and it's called pigmentsworker.rb, and if I just run it, first it's going to complain that it doesn't know where models/snippets is. This is because on our server, the code package has a different folder structure as we have locally. On our server, the load path is set to the root directory of the code package, and therefore you can require models/snippet because the models folder is located in the root directory of the code package. Whereas locally, your models folder is nested outside of the workers folder, inside the app folder, and then inside the models folder. And so maybe you could write something like this: require relative outside of the workers folder, into the app folder, into the models folder, and then we find the snippet RB. But even if you do that, it's still going to complain that it doesn't know what params is. Essentially, there are two things that have changed between the local environment and when the worker is deployed on Iron.io. First, the path and the folder structure have changed. And secondly, we need a way to introduce parameters or payload into the local environment. And so there's a way that we can simulate the environment on Iron.io servers locally. When the worker is run on the server, it's run with a -id argument. And so unless that there is a -id argument, we know that the file is running locally. And so we can outline it like this. We can introduce a development-only file called pigments_worker_dev, and we check whether we can see a -id argument. And then we can introduce a development-only file to simulate the environment on Iron.io server. Let's analyze this development file and analyze that line by line. First, we'll temporarily change the load path to the app folder. This is because we want to be able to require models/snippet so that we can set the load path to where the models folder is located. And so if we set the load path to right here, then this line will be valid. And next, we want to simulate the params method to deliver the payload. Here's something that I'd like to show you. The way the payload is set up depends on how you send the payload in. And so here we can see that we send in 3 parameters. We have database, request, and snippet ID. And all of this will become a hash when it gets to the server. So this is how it's going to look like on our server. It's going to be a big JSON hash with 3 keys. There's database, there's request, and there's snippet ID. And then within it, there's more information under each of the keys. And so once we know how it's going to look like, we can start to simulate how that parameters locally. Here we have the database key. Here we have the request key with the information, which is language set to Ruby, and code, which is a random snippet code that I decided to put in, and also a snippet ID. And in terms of database configuration, I decided just to load it from the config folder where that database.yaml is located. And now with this new line editing, We can run this file again and see if this works. As you can see, now we're able to require the snippet model. We're able to grab the database connection credentials. We're able to make a request to the external API provider. And this is what we receive from the external API provider. And we can see that we're able to save the results into our database. And so there we go. This is how you can develop locally with IronWorker. And once you've finished writing your code, then you can upload it to our server. And that way you know that you only need to upload your code once and it's going to work on a server. Again, thank you for your time for watching this video. I hope you found this helpful.